of Bahamians who needed that money for survival, to pay their rent, to pay their mortgages, and to feed their families. Madam Speaker, we informed them that they would probably run out of funds by January, and we would go back for the balance. But we were not prepared, just like we did with Bahamas Air. We were not prepared to lay off anybody, just as we did with public get dry. With public service. Just as we did with the public servants. We were not prepared to lay anyone off. And we were not prepared to do the same with roads and parks, to lay off hundreds of Bahamians. Madam Speaker, the members also said that most of the monies went to Kalani. Madam Speaker, never. I have it all recorded. That was said by Latrey Reming, July 2020. Kalani received, it's all over Facebook, Kalani received most significant portion of total cleaning contract. Madam Speaker, this is important. There were many individuals. But is it true? If you listen, you'll hear. If you listen. Let me stay focused. I don't want to look at it. Let me stay focused. Madam Speaker, many individuals would have come to the Prime Minister's office stating that they needed some form of contract for survival, etc. These were individuals from Baintown, individuals from Centerville, all over. Madam Speaker, as a compassionate Prime Minister, I sent those individuals to roads and parks and tell them they must find something for them, because we cannot have individuals who cannot take care of themselves. Madam Speaker, one such individual came to my office on 3 occasions and could not see me. My staff insisted that this person had to be seen because she had a serious problem. Madam Speaker, that individual, and she gave me permission to talk, that individual admitted when she finally saw me on the fourth visit, she finally said that she was in an abusive relationship and she wanted a job so that she could get out of the relationship. We sent her down. She is not from Kalani. But all those individuals were chatted under Kalani, but they were not from Kalani. She was given a contract of $1,600 to help her to get out of an abusive relationship. Madam Speaker, that was the same individual, and I have the newspaper here, that was the same individual who was run down by her boyfriend by a car. My goodness. The headline is here. Madam Speaker, if you give me 1 minute. It's a curry. We know. But Madam Speaker, most of those individuals, they were not from Kalani. They were from Fox Hill. They were from Centerville. They were from Baintown. They were from Angleton. But there was no way. If we had adhered to our budget of $15 million, those individuals, them and many more, would have been laid off. So, Madam Speaker, if I had to do it again, I would do it again, because there's absolutely no way that I would put Bahamians out on the street if I knew as government we can support them. Madam Speaker, I support this resolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Member. As many? Before you start the job. Honourable Member, before you go, the documents that you had promised to table.
But come. No. What happens? I may one day give it to Madam Speaker. Now, Madam Speaker, I came in here very ill, but for some reason you've energized me, and I know my energy level will leave me soon, and that's why I know my grandson will row me to hear that I'm drinking soda, but I need the calorie. And as soon as I sign this, yes, I will leave. I will go back to my bed. What's it is, babe?
Babe, I going.
I'm coming back because I want to deal with some of y'all, but not you. I want a copy of your speech, please. I thought it was very good. I need a copy. Oh, 6 months. What's that? Oh, boy, sickness was good for me. Books, not books. Books, B-O-O-K-S. Oh, you saying books? No, books. We were called little books and big books. Now he's called boxer.
Big boxer.
Oh.
Order that the documents do lie on the table. Not article. Before we go into your debate, the chair would like to recognize the honorable member for Pinewood. I'm gone. I'll be back.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy. Because of matter was raised this morning, I promised this House that I would conduct an inquiry as to what transpired, and I just want to read a written report as to the matter as read. And it's a statement from the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. The National Emergency Management Agency wishes to advise the general public of the timeline of events in the wake of the tornadic activity that occurred in the Cowpen Road, Blue Hill Road, and subsequently Bamboo Town areas. NEMA Director Captain Stephen Russell received notification of tornadic activity in the Cowpen and Blue Hill Road areas around 2:15 p.m. Wednesday, June 8th, while conducting a briefing for parliamentarians with regards to the National Emergency Management Agency's plan of action for the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season. Captain Russell immediately consulted with Mr. Jeffrey Simmons, Acting Director of the Bahamas Department of Meteorology, who presented at the briefing to confirm the reports of tornadic activity in the aforementioned areas, which Mr. Simmons confirmed. The NEMA director immediately contacted the lead officials of several of the agency's various emergency support functions with regards to undertaking immediate action to assist persons who may have been affected. This included a call to the NEMA warehouse team, who were instructed to mobilize tarpaulin into the areas that were reported to have been impacted in order to begin distributing tarpaulin as soon as they arrived in the area, based on initial reports received. That action was carried out and continued until 5:30 p.m. when the truck returned to NEMA's head office, Gladstone Road. While this was occurring, Captain Russell, accompanied by Bayer Hebron, Ministry of Works, a NEMA partner responsible for Emergency Support Function number 6, immediately departed to personally visit the site and conduct an initial damage assessment of the area. The assessment was completed, photographs were taken and posted in the NEMA chat group for further action. Captain Russell remained in office until 6:30 p.m., apprising Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister, the Honorable Miles Laroda, of the actions that had been undertaken to bring immediate relief to the affected homes in Cowpen, Blue Hill Road areas. At no time during these interventions did the agency nor any of its emergency support functions receive reports of residents in Bamboo Town area being impacted by the tornadic activity. About 9 p.m. Wednesday, Captain Russell received communication from yet another partner advising that there were residents in the Bamboo Town area, including senior citizens, who may have been impacted by the tornadic activity and needed assistance. Captain Russell once again immediately mobilized the NEMA assets, instructing the warehouse team to once again mobilize tarpaulin into the newly reported affected area. As this action was being undertaken, the NEMA director was contacted by another NEMA partner, Urban Renewal, regarding its assistance in bringing relief into the impacted area. It was agreed that the NEMA team, which included Captain Russell, Mr. Bradley King from the Ministry of Works, and the warehouse team and Urban Renewal, would all meet at the Prince William School to further coordinate the efforts to ensure that those persons who would have been identified as in need of assistance receive it. As always, the first order of business in any disaster and/or emergency event is to conduct an initial assessment, determine the extent of the damage, and how best to mitigate the impacts of that event. This was done as the initial assessments determined that there was a need of tarpaulin to secure affected homes of families. While on site, Captain Russell contacted the Department of Social Services, another NEMA partner, with regards to conducting social assessments which could not be undertaken until the morning because of the lateness of the hour, which at that time was 10 p.m. Those social assessments commenced Thursday morning. That's the end, Mr. Deputy, with regards to that matter.
Order that the documents be brought up.
Yes.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Marco City.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I'd like to commend the minister responsible for disaster recovery, reconstruction, the member for Pinewood. Mr. Deputy would recall this morning I raised a particular concern and with respect to the characterization of NEMA and in particular its leadership. And again, just caution that we get the facts, and I'm happy that the facts were obtained. We have a privilege in this place, and we ought to be extremely careful how we discharge our responsibilities. And so for those persons, those members of the public, whether they be public servants or they are members of the general public, all of us, myself included, have to be very cautious on how they are characterized because they do not have a right of reply in this place. And so I really want to commend the minister for bringing the report to put the facts on the table. And it is my hope that we would have further comments with respect to the persons who were named this morning, and that we would govern ourselves in a way to exercise some degree of restraint and patience until the facts are absolutely clear.
Thank you, honorable member. Order that the documents to lie on the table. As many. The chair recognizes the honorable member for North Abaco.
Deputy Speaker, colleagues, and all, good afternoon. I rise through God's will on behalf of the great people of North Abaco, for whom I stand in this place to represent, to make my contribution to the 2022-2023 budget debate. Firstly, let me say how grateful I am to represent such a resilient people. While I represent those who live in the North, it would be remiss of me not to mention how great the residents of Abaco are from the North to the South, and the great courage they have shown during perhaps the most difficult time in our history. Deputy Speaker, I would like to extend my sincere condolences to the staff in the Office of the Prime Minister on Abaco. Ms. Enid White, my office manager, who lost her brother. Ms. Cleopatra Roll, my secretary, who lost her mother. Mr. Mayor McKinsey, my personal assistant, who have lost a grandmother. And Mr. Yavnik Russell, my public relation officer, who had lost her great-grandmother since taking office. Also, I wish to extend our condolences to Marsha Roberts, who've lost her mother. Deputy Speaker, I extend condolences to all the families in North Abaco who have lost a family member in recent time. We have been attending funeral every Saturday from I came into office. Deputy Speaker, I wish to congratulate Mr. Yavnik Russell for a remarkable representation in youth in Parliament on behalf of North Abaco. I wish to congratulate all the college and high school and schools graduates from North Abaco. Deputy Speaker, I've always been known to deliver. North Abaco has asked me, has requested of me to deliver a message here for them today. I was elected by the people of North Abaco to represent them in this honorable place. Many, not all, but I repeat, many of whom asked me to please convey on their behalf to the opposition. The opposition sits in Parliament, well-dressed, with elaborate speeches and frozen hearts, using Abaco's misfortune, situation to support their budget.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Marco City.
Yeah, Deputy, Mr. Deputy. Mr. Deputy, all of us, I believe, we're in this place because we have concerns for the Bahamian people. And I want to make it established.
Address the chair of Marco City. We're not going down that road today.
Mr. Deputy,
Yeah.
it is inappropriate, unparliamentary, for the junior member from North Abaco to come in this place and suggest.
He's a member.
and suggest that he cares more about the Bahamian people
He didn't say that.
than the rest of us.
He did not say that.
Than the rest of
He
us
did not say that.
who have been serving the Bahamian people consistently. So I want to send a clear message. I want to send a clear message to the member for North Abaco
That's not what it's for.
and all others who
Members,
wish to support him
No.
in what has been said.
From yesterday. No.
In what has been said, that you can assert any number of things relative to whether or not,
Establish this point. Establish the point.
Yeah,
They've done this all yesterday.
No,
Mr. Deputy.
members.
Deputy, sit down. Have a
hold
seat.
on.
Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat. I certainly do not doubt that the member for North Abaco cares deeply about his people. But he should not assert that we are in here and we are callous, that we do not care, and worse, that our hearts are frozen towards the people that we have consistently served. It is unparliamentary. And I do not expect for members, listen, you're talking to Marco City, and so I'm asking the member for North Abaco to withdraw those statements, Mr. Speaker, and in the absence of withdrawal, if those could be expunged from the record, because it is inappropriate to assert. I can't imagine any of us believing that the one side or the other lacks concern for the Bahamian people.
One sec, members. Yeah, but yeah, okay, yeah. Let me just, okay, go ahead.
Mr. Deputy, one member says from his seat that the record.
You don't address things from the.
Here's the concern. I'm not sure where those persons who are defending that statement. So I leave North Abaco. I'm not sure where those persons were during Dorian or after Dorian. I can tell you where several of us were. We were in the community. And less than an hour of being evacuated, we were back on the front line fighting. Where was the member for West End and Bimini? Where's the member from Mount Moriah?
Okay, all right.
When for months, for years that we've been fighting on behalf of our people. So don't come in here talking about who cares and whose heart is full.
Members.
We have worked for our people.
Yes, members.
We continue to stand with our people.
Members.
And we're not going to sit down and listen to that nonsense.
Okay.
We will not listen to it.
Members.
It isn't true. It is not true.
Okay.
And veterans in here are supporting that nonsense.
Marco City.
Hearts call.
Marco City.
Hearts call.
Members.
That's what you believe? Sure.
Members. Marco City, I'm telling you for the last time, you have to, listen. It's about respect, and if I'm calling your name, please, but don't listen. Yeah, you address me. Okay, I have the floor now. Yeah, I have the floor. Thank you. Listen, members, please. Like I say, it's about respect. And just for the record, Marco City, I have the floor now. Just for the record, there are no junior members of Parliament in this House. We're all members of Parliament, whether it be your first year, second year, third, or 40th year. We're all members of Parliament. So let's respect each other. The floor. North Abaco, you have the floor until you're finished. I don't want to hear from no one else on no point of order, on no intervention. Right now, Marco City, I'm speaking. I am speaking right now. I'm speaking. North Abaco, you have the floor. The Sergeant of Arms. Marco City, I am warning you for the last time. If you get up I will have you removed from the House. That's all. Okay, North Abaco has the floor until you're finished. Then you can just write whatever you have to afterwards. I'm finished with that ruling. I said what I had to say, and I'm done. I said what I had to say, and I'm done. The Sergeant of Arms, can you remove Marco City from the house for me, please? I want Marco City removed from this house. First of all, hold on, 1 second. Sergeant of Arms, I want Marco City removed from the house, and then we will continue. I want him removed from this house, and then we will continue. Just sit. Now, I want Marco City removed. St. Barnabas, if you want to join him. No, let's deal with this first. But I want St. Barnabas to join you as well, because we will. Is there a second? No. It's been moved and seconded the House be suspended for 5 minutes. As many in favor remain seated, those opposed will stand. The House is adjourned for 5 minutes. All rise. Thank you, honorable members. I'm sure everybody is calm now. Okay, the theatrics is over. Honorable members, what I've noticed happening here is members having private conversations, and when something is said out of the way, then you stand to your feet. If you're having a private conversation, you have to keep it private, and you can't stand to your feet and then address or try to address the chair. North Abaco.
Mr. Deputy Chair, as I indicated, I was elected by the people of North Abaco, of whom I owe a responsibility to. I didn't come to this place to put on a show, for the theatric. I'm a man of integrity of character. That's why they voted for me. They asked me to convey on their behalf to the opposition, whom they, in their belief and opinion, consider to be well-dressed and elaborate in speech, frozen in heart, using Abaco's misfortune and situation to support their budget debates. I am asked, Deputy Speaker, to remind them that the FNM administration had 2 years to assist, resolve, or address Abaco concerns. Instead, their administration did as follows. Immediately after Hurricane Dorian, they charged Abaconians to evacuate after losing everything they owned. And they used the national flag carrier to do so, Bahamas Air. They collected the remains of our loved ones, stacked them in trailers for months. They held a mass burial and used armed forces, police officers, to keep family members out of the cemetery, not allowing us to pay a decent last right to our loved ones. Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, there was no tears in this honorable place for Abaconians. Instead, it was announced that the government don't build houses.
The chair recognizes Central Grand Bahama.
Mr. Deputy, thanks for recognizing me. I just want to, for the record, state that I traveled from Grand Bahama along with a contingent to attend the funeral service. And family members, according to my recollection, were not banned from the cemetery. There was a part of the service where they were allowed to march up and to pay their respect to those that were being eulogized. So I don't recall any armed forces standing at the gate of the graveyard blocking family members from being a part of the ceremony. I was there, live and a living color, along with a former member for North Abaco.
Thank you, honorable member.
Point of correction, there's no gate to the cemetery in which there was a mass burial. It's an open cemetery in Abaco. I said the armed forces was there. There was no gate to be there at. They stopped the family members from entering the cemetery. It was open. No, they was not allowed. They was not allowed. You could, I have video. Well, I'm only telling you what the family said to me. I was there too. But I was there too.
Members.
Deputy Speaker, as I indicated, there were armed police officers at the mass burial, and family members was not allowed to enter the cemetery. I was there. I witnessed it, and if I have to, I will bring a video to show where the residents and the members of North Abaco was actually approaching the then member of parliament about their disappreciation of what was taking place. Deputy Speaker, as I indicated, there was no tears in this honorable place for Abaconians. Instead, it was announced that government don't build houses. Their government, Deputy Speaker, spent $6.4 million on temporary domes instead of permanent homes on Abaco. $6.4 million at $100,000 build 64 homes. At $125,000 build 51 homes. At $150,000 build 42.6 homes. To put this in perspective, Deputy Speaker, pre-Dorian 2018, Abaco GDP was just over $500 million. Yes, billion with a B. The third largest in the Bahamas. And the FNN administration treated us like, I can't say strangers, but beggars, or nobody's child. Now, they suddenly cares about us. It's not what you say, but what you do. Central Grand Bahama, well, the entire royal opposition. Yes, this is politics. Yes, this is politics. But what we say, do, and support in here matters. It affects lives out there. Great powers comes with great responsibilities. The naked truth was revealed, and now it has been confirmed. Case in point. The FNN administration is no good for Abaco. You are not even allowed or given the opportunity to display your displeasure, what you would have experienced by their hands. My final request by the Abaconians, while we are not perfect, and we have all sinned and fall short, we are human beings, decent, hardworking, loving, kind, forgiving, and most important, God-loving, God-fearing, and God-serving people. North Abaco your message was delivered. Deputy Speaker, I would like to pause to thank all the staff working in the various government departments in Abaco. They have been working in the most challenging and adverse conditions, and I salute them. What we have gone through and our shared determination to still stand tall today is a testimony that Abaconians refuse to be defeated. And despite all that we have endured, we are resolute in our belief that we will bounce back better than before. In fact, I want the people of the Bahamas to know today that our press to come back has not been easy, nor has it been without emotional breakdowns at times. But rest assured, we are focused on our recovery, and we are committed to making Abaco greater than it has ever been. In the same way, I can say, thank God for September 16, 2021. Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, at a time when people of Abaco had literally given up on help and hope and true relief, this progressive Liberal Party was ushered into governance and brought with it the will to see things change for the people of our island. Abaco won. Abaco went against the status quo, entrusting both of its seats to our great party. South, we cannot fail them. Coming to office brought renewed hope that things would get better. Don't get me wrong. Since taking office, we have faced numerous challenges, many of which we met in place. But unlike the former administration, we have the will and the plan to get Abaco back on its feet. It's been a major coordination effort. And because of protocol and pre-existing red tapes in place, getting things done has taken longer than they should. Our people are tired of getting responses and not getting results. I repeat that. Our people are tired of getting responses and not results. I have personally made it my responsibility to champion the renaissance for the people of Abaco, to ensure that those days never return. Deputy Speaker, the single most important thing on the minds of residents of Abaco is the restoration efforts. Abaconians want to see things progress and up and running. This has been our focus since coming to office. In full transparency, we need to be doing more. We must do more. Our people have already been neglected by an administration that talked more than they achieved. And now it's time for the Davis administration to ensure the people's needs are taken care of. The relevant agencies, such as the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, Ministry of Works, Ministry of Health and Wellness, Social Services, Housing and Transport, Education, Immigration, Youth Sports and Culture, Public Services, and others have all been busy in their efforts to ensure their services have been reinstated and are operational. Golden Gates, GG, in her contribution, spoke of concerns on Abaco. Government employees, some of whom believe they are government employees who aren't even government employees, desire to be permanent and pensionable, spoke of unpaid overtime, suspended increments, no promotions, and the list goes on. Gigi is fixing it. In the words of Golden Gate's Member of Parliament, finally, once and for all. Thank you, Golden Gates. The DRA is progressing ahead with a number of projects. The Abaco Hurricane Shelter Project is now back up and running, and the $2.4 million investment will be constructed by a contractor from Abaco, local contractor. The targeted completion date should be next year, in time for the start of 2023 hurricane season. This summer, the small home repairs program will begin. We expect reassessment to begin in a matter of weeks. We are gearing up to finish the construction of the 5 homes that were donated in Central Pines. Presently, they are about 80% completed. And speaking about housing, this is the single biggest need for residents and those who wish to return to the island. Accommodation, Deputy Speaker, has been challenging. But we are making progress, as this has been our primary focus. We simply don't have any place to house teachers or additional healthcare workers. Therefore, we are so pleased that within months of coming to office, the Ministry of Housing, of Transport and Housing, under the capable leadership of my colleague, the member for Elizabeth, Minister Jobed Colby Davis, wasted no time responding to our request for housing. Recently, we broke ground for some 30 homes in the Central Pines community. There are also more plans to create housing on the island for the residents. The minister will be completing projects and starting new housing projects. I'm confident Elizabeth will speak on these projects during her contribution. The community of Treasure Key, which was devastated during Hurricane Dorian, is now up for sale. Quite a number of homes have begun repairs, while others wait for the outcome of a sale in this community. Also, the contract for a new sewer system in this community has been signed between the Water and Sewage Corporation and Apex, a company out of New Providence. We are hoping to commence soon the repairs to the bathroom facilities at Green Turtle Key Ferry Dock and the loading dock on Green Turtle Key. The Ministry of Works will be leading these projects. Additionally, on Grand Key, we are pleased to report some positive news. I would have visited the Key on several occasions. I can report today that there is commitment by the owner of Walker's Key, Mr. Allen, to assist in the restoration and repairs of the school and teachers' residence. He also pledged to assist with the donation of a garbage incinerator. We would have had the very same pledge of the owner of Big Grand Key, Mr. John Texter, to also assist with these projects. Deputy Speaker, We would like to thank all the NGOs who work to get all the schools operational on Abaco. For all the homes they repaired, and for all their support and kindness. We owe a great debt of gratitude to the NGOs. Thank you. There is great opportunity for employment on Abaco, particularly in the field of construction. If you are on the island, you can work. That is, if you want to. I hasten to add, Deputy Speaker, that quite a number of residents have returned to the island, but there is still a large amount who are still away. Most of those people were residents in the hardest hit area of Murphytown, Dundastown, Marsh Harbor, and Central Pines. In order for residents to reoccupy these communities, there is a significant amount of infrastructural work that must be done with the Water and Sewage Corporation, Bahamas Power and Light, and others. I, however, must pause to say a big thank you to my colleague, the Member of Parliament for North Eleuthera and Chairman of the Water and Sewage Corporation, Sylvanus Petty, who would have engaged several companies to expedite a new system that was stalled into getting online. He is now engaging electrical and technical services to bring the system online, which will indeed answer the water concerns that have long plagued the central area. You would have heard from Fort Charlotte, South Beach, and North Eleuthera, and their much welcome plans for Abaco. Deputy Speaker, amidst the initial setbacks, I wish to proclaim that it indeed is a new day in Abaco, and the island is well on its way to being better than before. The people voted for better, and they definitely will get better. Right. Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, we must have central government and its sub-agencies on the island working together to achieve tangible results in the shortest possible time. One of the key reasons for the Office of the Prime Minister's establishment on the island is to ensure the people could access government agencies without having to go to the capital. Yet, still too many times, when they speak with these entities, they are told that they are waiting on Nassau, or they need Nassau to do something. Quite frankly, we must seek to modernize these standard operating procedures and find a way to adequately address the needs of our people in real time. I realize that a big portion of this is more efficient and reliable computer networking system and efficient programs specifically designed to meet these needs. I am pleased to announce that work is in the pipeline to streamline challenges with the online portals and systems that our people should have access to. There is also new focus being placed to ensure that our agencies in Abo can perform their task without consistently having to refer to Nassau. This will provide beneficial to Abaconians who have been waiting on approvals, response, and actions on their requests and matters. In an era of information technology, it is important to ensure that in our archipelago, our people can access government in real time, no matter their geographical location. And taking it further, not just accessing government, but getting results to their inquiries and transactions with government in real time. This administration is committed to improving government online services. My colleague, the Member of Parliament of Baines and Grantstown, and Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Wade Watson, is leading the initiative to ensure greater access to government online. This will truly benefit family islands like Abaco. We will continue to lobby for more services to be placed online so that the needs of our people can be accommodated without them having to physically travel to the capital. I think it is all critical at this stage to say how important it is to ensure we have up-to-date networking computerization systems working in our offices on Abaco. Since Hurricane Dorian, many agencies have complained about the need for computer terminals and access to software that will enhance their daily operations. I have been in contact with the relevant agencies to express the dire need for action and will continue to lobby until the problem no longer exists. I also want to take this opportunity to encourage various agencies and departments with office in Abaco to ensure your team members have the basic supplies to effectively operate. Too often, and Deputy Speaker, this is the truth, too often we hear of stories of the absence of basic supplies, including cleaning supplies. Our people deserve better. This new day government is all about caring for our workers and ensuring they can do their jobs effectively in the right environment with the necessary tools. We will not stop until these long-standing issues which plague progress are no more. Deputy Speaker, the issue of Crown land has been a problematic one for decades. If you've heard about the horror stories of people in New Providence waiting years and still have not gotten a response, imagine we on the Family Islands, what we face. However, Deputy Speaker, I'm not prepared as the Member of Parliament for North Abaco to sit back and use this same excuse that those before me have used. Crown land is an entitlement for the people, and it is up to those of us who sit in this honorable place to ensure that it is made available for the people to develop. I want to go on record saying that I pledge to ensure that the people of Abaco who qualify for Crown land can access it and begin to develop their dreams as we seek to diversify and build our island. Thank you, sir. I know many of you have complained that you have applied, but have heard nothing. Rest assured that I am busy petitioning to relevant officials for your response and approval. Southern Central Andres? Yes, sir. Thank you. I will not rest until the people of Abaco are granted their land. Just like so many of you, I too am disgusted by the abuse of some who do not follow the proper protocols, but are illegally dwelling, squatting, or constructing without approvals. I can report that a plan has been derived to address this vexing issue, and Abaco is on the radar as part of the operation. I will repeat that because it's important for Abaco. Just like so many of you, I too am disgusted by the abuse of some who do not follow the proper protocols but are illegally dwelling, squatting, or constructing without approvals. I can report that a plan has been derived to address this vexing issue. And Abaco is on that radar as part of the operation. We cannot and will not sit idly by while our laws are ignored, broken, and abused, and our people stand weighing in the balance, wondering what will become of their plight. I will have more to say on this matter at a later date, as I do not want to preempt the plans that are now in the working. The Davis administration will deal with this long-standing issue and will deal with it effectively while still respecting the human rights of all. The PLP will not shy away from challenges. Instead, we face them head on with solutions that are effective and productive. We don't just seem to be motivated by taking credit from others. We earn it. I read a portion in the Bible says that if a man confesses his sin and repent, restore him. But if he does not, don't even affiliate with him. Don't eat bread with him. Don't break bread with him. I stand here and say that we would have opened the Angel Fish Creek Bridge, as Minister says, would have indicated. The only part I played in that as Member of Parliament was to ensure that the project was completed, which was probably 90% completed upon my arrival. Today, my name is on that plate. But I take no pride in denying that Minister Henfield was the Member of Parliament during the construction phase. That is what leaders do. That is what honest, decent people do. Give credit where it is due. Thank you, Minister Henfield. Deputy Speaker, I briefly touched on this earlier, but let me expand further. We are working to get our schools fully operational on the island. The Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, Glenys Hanna Martin, and State Minister Zane Lightbourne have worked extremely hard to get the schools reopened. However, there are still some challenges that exist. As I've stated before, the issues have been finding adequate housing for our teachers. However, we are excited that we have made significant headways in this regard. There are still teacher shortage at some of the school, which we hope to be addressed by the start of the new year. In addition, for way of information, all schools in Abaco reopened in January for face-to-face instructions on a hybrid model, meaning a combination of full face-to-face and virtual instructions after having been in fully virtual mode for almost a year. This includes Cooperstown Primary and SC Boodle High. Despite progress made, however, challenges continue to be faced with locating suitable accommodation for teachers and chronic teacher shortages. The shortage of teachers is being addressed in a strategic recruitment exercise now underway. The 3-foot distancing protocol in classroom in Abaco also makes it difficult to accommodate 100% of students at once. Foxtown Primary and Amy Rogers, all aged, however, are in full 100% face-to-face instruction. Patrick J. Bethel High saw students return to the campus for face-to-face instruction on a hybrid base earlier this year for the first time in 3 years. It is expected by September of this year, full normalcy will be restored to Abaco classrooms. A new school block is to be constructed for Cooperstown Primary. I'm confident Angliston will speak to Abaco in her contribution. Deputy Speaker, Abaco is known to be a powerhouse in sports, in particular track and field. It is a major accomplishment for an island that has less than adequate sporting facilities. This is why we must ensure the facilities that we do have are operational. We will begin renovation of sporting facilities with a focus of restoring them. Many of them were damaged during Hurricane Dorian. It's an undertaking that will be spearheaded by the Ministry of Sports, by the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, led by my colleague, Minister Mario Boleg. Deputy Speaker, the successful running of any administration is the ability to collect taxes and outstanding revenue. Abaco, for many years pre-Dorian, boasted of its significant contribution to the Treasury of the Bahamas. We collected our fair share of tax, contributing to significant revenue. Yet, there still remains a large portion of revenue uncollected. It is our focus to ensure accurate collection of government revenue with a large second home market, many of whom have been supportive in our restoration efforts. There still remains a large amount of people who have not paid their real property tax. And to make matters worse, they use their homes as rentals and Airbnbs, but are not paying value-added tax. We intend to crack down on such violations. I am extremely pleased and excited that our leader, Prime Minister, Honorable Philip Brave Davis, announced in his budget communication last month that family islands like Abaco will get access to money contributed to the national revenue for its use. This is an answer to the prayers of the people of Abaco who have voiced this concern to consecutive administration. No shock that it took the New Day administration to act. With this new policy, Abaco will be able to once again invest into the infrastructure, people, and programs that will indeed help to make this island successful again. It just makes sense. Give back. Thank you, Cat Island, Rum Key, and San Salvador. Deputy Speaker, as I move to wrap up, let me say that what we are doing in Abaco is phenomenal, and once completed, will be revolutionary. We are building a modern city, an island that will incorporate solar power to help electrify settlements, homes, and businesses. A move away from fossil fuels and power generation that can at times be unreliable, but most importantly, produce cleaner atmosphere and is in keeping with our administration climate change mandate. Modern technology will also be evident in our building codes and structures, ensuring that they can withstand strong hurricane. Our city design will make us of the best layouts recommendation that mitigate against severe weather elements. We are also affording new opportunities to residents to become business owners and entrepreneurs, therefore sharing the wealth across various socio-economic groupings. Our boating, resorts, second home industries will also build back bigger and better, making Abaco a choice vacation destination spot. Our surrounding keys are also rebuilding better and smarter than before. We have a second opportunity, or as some may call it, a do-over, to build the right kind of Abaco. We must not fail at it. While we realize that there will be challenges and hurdles, we have a commitment and resolve to get it done. We are passionate about working for our people, and we will not betray their trust. This New Day administration, under the leadership of Honorable Philip Brave Davis, will get the job done. Abaco can be sure of it. And this budget is a testimony that we are moving in the right direction, especially for the people of Abaco. Deputy Speaker, I would like to pause and personally thank Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador, Exuma and Ragged Island, and the Davis and Cooper administration, not just for listening and accommodating North and South endless requests, but also for fulfilling them where and when humanly possible at this time. On behalf of North and South, I say thank you to this administration. Deputy Speaker, North Abaco supports this budget and looks forward to experiencing a new Abaco under this New Day government. God bless us all.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Central Grand Bahama.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy. You know, thanks for allowing me. I made a declaration in this honorable house earlier while the member was speaking, and I can certainly say, Mr. Deputy, with your leave, that personally, myself and the leader was over the bridge, pulling survivors out of the water during Hurricane Dorian. I lost close family members in Abaco and East Grand Bahama that I would never see again. I personally chartered Flamingo Air to travel to Abaco to attend the funeral, the mass burial in Abaco. And I heard that family members were not allowed, but I have evidence, I have pictures here that I took on my phone of family members coming up to review the remains or the procession during that funeral service. So I just want to put on the table that I have evidence, proof, that family members were not, we had armed guards at the gate, we have armed guards here, but they were not denied entry into the funeral procession. And I would like to lay this evidence on the table that they were allowed to be a part of the procession. I have several pictures here to prove what I'm saying.
Order that the documents be brought up. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Member.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, thank you. I, just in fairness of the whole debate and about this, what persons experienced at the burial that was the mass burial that is being referred to in Abaco. If I may, I'll be prepared to table a document dated May 22nd, 2020, Eyewitness News, which includes a video from emotional scenes from the Ecumenical Service for 55 Hurricane Dorian victims.
Thank you very much, Mr.
The tensions continue to flare among family members on the outskirts of the gravesite as they protest the decision to bury the remains that have not been identified. And it shows the scene of a barricade that the contents of the video speak for itself and of the story. So I'd like to make reference. I'm prepared to labor in support of the member, and that's why he is giving his experiences. If a person would have given a different experience from a different place they stood at that time, then that's fine. But it's unfair to suggest that the member is not being honest in his assessment. No. Yes, because he is giving his account. The other member will have a chance. The member for Central Grand Bahama will have a chance when if he speaks, or somebody else may have a chance to give their account. But it would suggest the evidence is clear, and the member for North Abaco is completely.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Central Grand Bahama.
I presented evidence. Pictures speak 1,000 words. And I will say this, to say that no, a lot of family members were not identified, but the person's specimens placed in those boxes were tagged and labeled, so that at the end, once the proper DNA results were returned from the FBI lab, then they can go and they can reclaim their loved ones and rebury them. So of course, family members were allowed, as the picture indicates, to enter into the cemetery. And that's all I'm saying. And my evidence is there. The video may also prove otherwise, but my evidence is clear.
Order that the documents to lie on the table. Mr. Forbes. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for North Abaco.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Speaker, I understand English a bit well. And viewing is not the same as attending. I said they were not able to attend, not view. Yes, the family members perhaps was able to view the bodies, but there was no seating for the family members. The tent was completely occupied by ministers of the gospel, ministers from government, and members of other. I was there. But again, what I would like to clear is my statement. I didn't say view. I said attend, to give their family the decent burial that they deserve. It's not afforded, people of Abaco. And again, I do understand the member also lost family members, as all of us did. No, I did, you did. You might even be family at some point. But what I'm saying is, what was experienced by those persons, whether it's accurate or inaccurate, this is the fundamental difference between the Progressive Liberal Party and the FNN. We care about people. You can object against it if you don't. I'm speaking from my experience. You can. You cared, right. Sorry, Madam Speaker. The member for Central made a point. He made a point. They care about people, their people. But when it came to Abaco, the care and the relief were short in coming. You telling me you care about me when I just lost my entire house, but you locked me down without any power on my island, with no COVID case. You tell me you care about me when you refuse to even come and hear from me as a prime minister, as a government. You know what Abaco said to me? Mr. Cornish, in the last few days, if you are coming to office, this is the most visit we had from a government by its ministers in the entire existence of our life. Some of them are young who said it, so maybe the older ones could recall. I think that's a fundamental difference we have to recognize. Saying you care about somebody is words. What you do tells them how you really care about them. If it's real. I could say something to you and that goes away, but what I do to you lasts a long time.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The chair recognizes as many. The chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Michael.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to make this contribution to the 2022-23 budget. However, before I do that, I would like to extend best wishes to the daughter of the Honorable Alfred Sayers, Member of Parliament for Fort Charlotte, and the Minister of Public Works, and all the other passengers who were involved in the airplane accident this past weekend. I know what they're going through because I too had an experience some years ago while going into Norman's Key. I also extend condolences to the family of the young lady, Miss Newbold, who lost her life at that time. Condolences also to the Bain and the Pender family, the family of Barbara Bain Pender, who passed away yesterday. Barbara Bain Pender family was my neighbors living on Inagua while we were growing up. Condolences also to the family of Gwen Nixon, who was also from Inagua. May I say, the souls rest in peace. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I must continue to thank the special people of Maikal, mainly Miguana, Inagua, Crooked Island, Acklands, and Long Key, whom I represent in this honorable house. I, being the eighth of 14 children, who was raised without a father on the family island of Anagua. Understanding the struggle that my mother went through, I know what it's like not to have certain things, but thank God for the Progressive Liberal Party, including this administration, led by our Prime Minister and Member of Parliament for Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador, the Honorable Philip Davis, who brought to this House and the Bahamian people a financial budget for the proper governance of our country. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this budget that is now being debated covers items and services that will improve the life of all Bahamians. While this budget benefit our people, I must say how pleased I am to know that Michael will not be left out. So, Michael, your PLP government is on its way. This budget ensures the Southern Islands will receive substantial benefit this time around. Michael, you did not get anything under the previous administration, but this time you will not be left out. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this government has made provisions in this budget for 10% of the revenue generated by Family Islanders to be used for development projects in the respective areas, which is separate from the normal central government funds for Family Island infrastructural development. This type of allocation was never done before. So I must commend the government for this venture. The Minister of Works very well detailed in his presentation the kind of infrastructure development which will be done, including roads and airports. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this 2022-2023 budget has several central priorities. These priorities include helping the Bahamians to cope with cost of living rises, creating jobs opportunities, and improving security by making our communities, homes, and borders safer and secure. To help Bahamians cope with the cost of living, this Davis-Cooper administration has reduced the customs import duties on several breadbasket items, which will make life a bit easier for Bahamians, especially the residents in my constituency of Michael. Every week, my constituents are complaining about the high cost of freight, in addition to the high cost they are already paying for breadbasket items, relief. Madam Speaker, I hear the cry of the people who are hurting to bring additional relief to our people. This New Day government will increase the minimum wage for public servants, in addition to this social services assistance will also increase. Healthcare is not forgotten and is very important and necessary for our people. With this in mind, our New Day government saw fit to introduce a new catastrophic health program which will benefit all Bahamians. This, Madam Speaker, will reduce the hassle of cookouts and other fundraising activities. This administration, which is led by the member for Cat Island, Rumpke, and San Salvador, is about creating jobs, opportunities for our people in the orange, green, and blue economy. Yes. This government, committing some $50 million to the Small Business Development Center, and I would like Michael to know that in addition to this $50 million that will be allocated to small business, a Family Island infrastructure funds for infrastructure development across the Family Island has been allocated. Nothing of any substance was done to improve the quality of life for the Bahamian people, especially those in the Michael constituency, which is one of the most challenging areas in our country, with each island having its own unique challenges. However, with God being our helper, this Davis and Cooper administration will bring these southern islands from behind God back, as was said by the elders, to the front. With me being the member of parliament, they will begin to see things in the upcoming future. So, islands that makes up Michael, change is on the way. Sir. Madam Speaker, it brings a smile to my face to know that the Family Islands will be the benefactor of additional funding, that thank God for our leader and Prime Minister, the member for Cat Island and Rumpke and San Salvador, the Honorable Philip Wave Davis, because during my contribution to the supplementary budget, I had indicated that I would be seeking additional funds and other possible assistance needed in order to properly represent my people in these 5 islands. Madam Speaker, the island of Michael are surrounded by beautiful, deep blue water and golden sunrise, which and could be used for the benefit of our people in the southern Bahamas. It is welcoming news to the people of Michael that our government is about to embark on a solarized electrical system in each one of the islands. This system, once implemented, will bring relief to the people from the high electricity bill, while at the same time contributing to carbon credit benefits by use of renewable energy. Madam Speaker, I would now focus on the island of Meguana. Firstly, the airport. I am ashamed of the condition of what is to be the gateway to that island. This infrastructure is nothing more than a shed with 4 wooden posts, with pieces of plywood as its sides, and roof tops. There was no proper running water nor sanitation facility for the public. This airport project, which was a part of the I Group overall project, was stopped and canceled under the FNM administration and has been an eyesore forever, for very, very long time. The medical clinic building is in desperate need of renovations and has a shortage of medical supplies. The repairs that the PLP had started to the building became to a full stop when we were voted out of office. Nothing was done to it by the previous FNM administration, but I can tell Meguana, a new sheriff is in town, and we will see to it that those things are made right. But that is not all, Megona. Not too long from now, better things are coming. However, we'll wait until the government makes its announcement on its decision so we can get back to work in making this island what it should be again. Madam Speaker, I turn to Anagua. Our all-age school, which was getting back on stream very soon, as noted by the Minister of Works yesterday during his contribution. This school should have been built years ago. However, we were removed from office and did not have time to see it built. We thought the previous administration was going to do it. However, they had decided to wait until almost time for the 27th election before they, the FNM, presented a set of drawings to the public meeting saying that the drawings were done by them, which was not true. The original structural drawings are still in my office today. So, in Anagua, the road needs to be paved, and the public dock at the marina need to be repaired. The airport terminal building has outgrown its usefulness and needs rebuilding. Madam Speaker, it is my intent to see and identify all historical buildings and preserve them as a touristic site, such as the original clinic building, which was built in 1908, the original prison and compound, and the lighthouse tower, along with other lighthouse keepers' residence on the compound, just to name a few. I now move to Crooked Island, Madam Speaker, where no proper mailboat docking facility at Landwell Point can be imagined. The mailboat offloads its cargo in an area that is considered to be unsafe. On the rocks, that is. Madam Speaker, the mailboat service is the only means of getting much needed supplies to the residents. Madam Speaker, we are living in a modern era. Our people should not have to be living in those conditions. Medical facilities and infrastructural works are in desperate need of repairs and/or to be rebuilt. Let me thank the Minister of Works, the Member of Parliament for Fort Charlotte, the Acting General Manager of Water and Sewer, Mr. Robert Deal, and the General Manager for BPL, who all answered the call when the need arose. Water and electrical systems have been a problem for far too long in these communities. There is also desperate need to clear the sand domes at the ferry dock at the Cove, as they hampered the movement of people between Auckland and Crooked Island. This is to be considered a very urgent matter, Madam Speaker. Because without this ferry dock, it makes life very difficult for people to be transported safely. I would also like to thank the Minister of Works announcing in his budget communication the plan to reconstruct the roads in Colonel Hill, as there is a need to extend the road from Colonel Hill Airport to the public park and from BPL station to the dock, also excluding the beach cabana to John Whittingham House. Madam Speaker, there is also a need to consider extending the airport runway. I now move to Auckland's, Madam Speaker. I'm happy to say that the people of Auckland's, that big things are about to happen for them as well. I do not want to let the cat out of the bag, just like the old folks say. A possible project is being reviewed by the government, and at the moment, and if things go as planned, announcement will be made, I would hope, not too long, far from now. Like the outer island that makes up Michael, Auckland's challenges with infrastructure work from the settlement of Selena Point to Chester's. Hopefully the electrical solarization system, which this caring PLP government plan to bring on stream, will greatly enhance the quality of life for all our people again. The proposed electrical system will greatly reduce the electrical service fees and bring relief to the constant power outages. The healthcare facility, there is a desperate need of repairs and/or extension. There is a lack of supplies and staffing, which we intend to correct. Earlier this year, I accompanied the Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Dr. Michael Dowell, and Member of Parliament for the Tall Pines, and on another tour of Michael to get a better understanding of what and how these facilities were handled. It is also anticipated that the Minister of Public Works and others, including myself, will be visiting these islands very soon to see what is needed. We will look at the possible site for the electrical solar plant and other infrastructural service that may be needed. The airport runway is in desperate need of resurfacing due to vegetation growth, cracking in the pavement, and loose gravel. Madam Speaker, I had personally experienced what loose gravel can do to an aircraft. It is my hope and plan that this can be corrected as soon as possible. Now, Madam Speaker, I now move on to Long Key. This little beautiful island has its challenges with only a small number of residents. As we, as a government, has an obligation to them just like the other islands. We are committed as a government to see to it that the few residents benefit from the goodness of this caring PLP government. This little island has some of the most beautiful beaches one can find anywhere in the Bahamas. There is no proper docking facility on this beautiful island. The mailboat must anchor some distance away from the land. A small rowboat then transport the goods from the mailboat onto the island. This is only on one side. The main ferry dock, which is located on the other side of the island, was destroyed during the last hurricane, and the former administration, the former F&M administration, did nothing to assist those people. Well, Long Key, we heard your cry, and this PLP government, under the leadership of our Prime Minister, Philip Wave Davis, and your Member of Parliament, will bring relief to you very soon. Madam Speaker, it is evident that this New Day government is restoring our economy. However, it will further require an increase in employment, especially among our young people. The Southern Island can look forward to the potential touristic explosion, which will also bring some additional revenue to the island and to the country in general, resulting from this 2022-2023 budget implementation. Madam Speaker, the hurricane season is now upon us, and it's my intent to see to it that proper hurricane shelters are constructed on each one of these islands in my constituency and equipped with the necessary supplies. Madam Speaker, I now turn to the Department of Environmental Health Services, which is within my portfolio as the Minister of State. I must thank our Prime Minister I must thank our Member of Parliament for Cat Island, Rumpke, and San Salvador, the Honorable Philip Wave Davis, for giving me an opportunity to serve in his cabinet. The Ministry of Environmental and Natural Resources has portfolio responsible for the Department of Environmental Health, DEHS, which has budget head 65. The DEHS performs important functions, provide essential services in the country and on the island of New Providence in particular. It oversees the collection of garbage, rodent vector control, monitoring pollutants through environmental monitoring and risk assessment department, lab, food inspection, and has oversight for the Howell Road landfill. Madam Speaker, the collection of residential and bulk waste on the island of New Providence is a huge operation utilizing and coordinating a total 50 contractors. The bulk waste will further develop during the 2022-2023 budget year to provide for weekly collection in all communities divided into 100 zones. Additionally, areas with habitual indiscriminate dumping will continue to be cleaned up, preventative measures put in place, and the DEHS continues with its effort in areas where most needed. Regular household garbage collection include Family Islands, Grand Bahama, Eleuthera, Exuma, Bimini, and Abaco during the 2022-2023 budget year. The COVID pandemic delayed implementation of this program. 75% have submitted current listing of location, number, and type of vehicles to facilitate removal. It is intended that the vehicles be processed in a place and shipped directly to the United States for final disposal. Residential waste collection. The positive effect of twice weekly collection has been better waste management, decreasing rodent population, and a more aesthetically pleasing environment. The DEHS intend to continue to vigorously pursue those property owners who do not have contract regular appropriate waste collection. I wish to reiterate that improperly disposed garbage and vehicles allow for the collection of rainwater, which provide and breed area for mosquitoes, and food and shelter for rats, both of which are known to carry diseases. I take this opportunity to encourage all residents of the Bahamas to dispose of their garbage properly. Rodent control programs. The rodent control programs conducts survey and treatment exercises in a number of communities in Yamacraw, Angliston, Baintown, and Garden Hills. The survey and treatment will extend to other communities during the 2022-2023 year. The exercise is coupled with assessment, verification of factors contributing to rodents infestation via education, cleanup, and prosecution. Madam Speaker, the education component of the program is crucial to install in the minds of school-age children the critical need for proper disposal. They, in turn, will encourage the parents. Turn to the vector control program. The DEHS will continue to work with Pan American Health Organization, data which will facilitate qualification of the rodent infestation by zones. The initial area to be addressed will be Bain and Grandstown areas. The program will be expanded to other areas of New Providence and Family Islands over the next 18 months. While there is no cost associated with the software, the hardware has been purchased. This program will assist with rapid determination and specific location which may need more attention with regards to the solid waste management and other issues which may impact rodent control, such as overgrown lots, dilapidated structures, water bodies, and effective sanitation facilities. During the last fiscal period, an assessment was conducted by the Caribbean Public Health Agencies of the resistance within the local population in New Providence. In response to finding, the DEHS has introduced a different lava kit which will have greater impact and significantly reduce mosquitoes emergency development. The DEHS will continue testing larvicides in the Family Islands. Air quality monitoring. The Environmental Monitoring and Risk Assessment Division of the department continue its assessment of various government buildings with respect to indoor air quality. The vast majority of cases, there were no elevated level of molds detected as verified by the DEHS and DPA certified laboratories to which all samples were submitted. The ENOS system is installed in Grand Bahama for the monitoring of industrial areas, has been damaged, and a new system will be installed during the next fiscal year to continue monitoring of emissions. Food and safety. The DEHS continue to collaborate with the Bahamas Agriculture, with the Bahamas Agricultural Health and Food Safety Authority to monitor food properties to ensure that the necessary standards are being maintained. Additionally, the department continues to collaborate with the Ministry of Health. I turn to the Coastal Monitoring Program. The Coastal Monitoring Program was reestablished during the latter part of the 2020-2021 budget. The program seeks to establish a baseline level which will be utilized to determine the effect of the activities on water quality. National Beautification Program. The Department of Environmental Health Service is responsible for the identification and addressing of environmental nuisance This is the task that is primarily carried out by the Health Inspectorate and Solid Waste Management Division in New Providence and the Family Islands. In addition to the effect already mentioned, the component which was not in place was the conversation of the clean properties into useful green spaces, identification of ownership for maintenance or acquisition, creation of curb appeal within the communities by increasing local fauna and flora with whitewashing of curbside, improving the visual aesthetics of specified buildings by painting and monitor repair. The DEHS wishes to aggressively pursue a national beautification program which encompasses all the factors previously stated. The program will address both New Providence and Major Family Islands over a period of 24 months. The work will be conducted in phases with number phases lasting no longer than 8 weeks. Works in the Family Island is anticipated to begin within the upcoming fiscal period and will consist primarily of bulk waste and derelict vehicle removal. The island to be addressed in this phase 1 are Bimini and Great Harbor Key, Andros, Cat Island, Eleuthera, and Exuma. The DEHS has already begun compiling the list of vehicles on major islands so as to ensure a smooth removal process. It is intended that these vehicles be processed in place and then barged to New Providence for final disposal. The DEHS recommend that phase 1 of the National Beautification Program in New Providence be in the areas of Angliston, Fort Charlotte, Fox Hill, Freetown, and Golden Isles. To ensure relatively quick and effective cleanup, the department will utilize contractors. Contractors will be hired to assist with waste transportation. With transportation. Madam Speaker, the Cabinet has approved this project and my ministry will work with the Ministry of Finance to identify funding for its implementation. To this end, Madam Speaker, MICAL supports the 2022-2023 budget and look forward to seeing MICAL play its role and to the benefit from what is to come. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member Asmini. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Long Island.
Madam Speaker, good evening. I'm pleased to rise again in this esteemed place on behalf of the great people of Long Island, the most industrious, hard-working, indomitable, driven people in the Bahamas, and unquestionably the brightest jewel in the archipelagic crown. Right, Sir Andres? Madam Speaker, I know firsthand what it's like to beat rock, catch crab, go striking at night with my grandpa, to run and round up sheep and goat, pick up and package mangoes, guava, tangerine, oranges for my late granduncle Howard, to wash clothes in the scrubber, the scrub board and the old iron or the old tin tub to draw water from the well, oftentimes with tadpoles in it, and to break brow to feed the sheep in the evenings after school. Madam Speaker, I want to congratulate my son. My son is participating in various graduation exercises over this week and next. And this week, there was the church service yesterday, in fact. I was at that service yesterday. Class dinner and other events. And next Friday, next week Friday, he will officially walk and participate in his school's prize-giving graduation ceremony. I'm extremely proud of him. I was most pleased to attend their church service yesterday. He's such a good boy. He's growing so well. He's 12 now. Right. So congratulations,
Congratulations, honorable member.
He's going into high school. Madam Speaker, over the holiday weekend, I attended our annual Long Island Regatta. This was the first regatta to be held on the island since 2019. Everyone came out. They came by boat, they came by plane, they came by wheelchair, and some came walking with cane. Long Island was looking good. As the old people say, the island was brimming with people. It was good to see several of my parliamentary colleagues enjoying themselves on the ground. Madam Speaker, undoubtedly, the return of the regatta has proven to be a shot in the arm to the economic boost that our island so desperately needed. Given that we are so far away from New Providence and don't have a state-of-the-art international airport for direct international traffic with major carriers, it is during times like regatta time, extended holiday weekends, Christmas time, and winter season that we get most of our business, that the business operators get a boost in earnings. We remain hopeful of that airport. I'll speak further to that later in my presentation. As an island businessman, I know all too well the challenges that we face. Not only did COVID-19 leave a gaping hole in our economy, it also robbed us of the opportunity to celebrate with each other. Therefore, the importance of the regatta cannot be overstated. It afforded the members of Long Island, the Long Island diaspora, an opportunity to come home. But it also gave other Bahamians a chance to visit the best island in the Bahamas and experience the best regatta in the Bahamas. Madam Speaker, as you and I have talked, and you've informed me of your Long Island heritage, I looked for you. And I look forward to seeing you at the next regatta. We will fatten a nice sheep over the course of the year for you. So rather than killing the proverbial fattest calf, we'll kill the fattest ram for you.
Thank you, honorable member.
Curry mutton, steamed mutton, baked mutton, minced mutton, however you like it.
You could have sent it with Marco City for me. Right.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank the regatta organizers, the Long Island Association, which is led by Tanya Farquharson, Keith Carroll, as well as the Long Island Sailing Club, led by Chester Fox, Kimberly Cartwright, and Kendrick Knowles, for their great work in putting together and pulling off a memorable regatta. I can tell you that Kendrick Knowles is a driven young man who was relentless in his pursuit of funds to get some additional cabanas constructed at the site. And even at the closing ceremony, he came back. He said, now, I'm gonna need a few more $1,000 to do that basketball court. Kendrick, I can assure you that I will collaborate with you on that project. I was honored to have been able to sponsor the regatta via our constituency fund. $7,000 to the Long Island Sailing Club for the construction of more cabanas at the site, and a further $5,000 for the E-Class race and trophies from the constituency fund. I've also committed an additional $5,000 to the Long Island Association, which will bring the total to the Long Island Association to $10,000, and the combined total between those two bodies to $17,000. Madam Speaker, I take this opportunity to thank all of you in attendance. Madam Speaker, I take this opportunity to thank the hard-working, illustrious members of the Long Island Association who have tirelessly worked to make this event a resounding success. Without their vision, tenacity, and hard work, that event would only be a dream. Same thing is extended to the Long Island Sailing Club. Madam Speaker, sailing is an integral part of who we are as Long Islanders, an important expression of our heritage. And so I offer hearty congratulations and many thanks to all of the sailors who made all of that possible. I commend all of the skippers because we know that their dedication to sailing stems not from financial gain, but from an unwavering love of the sport. Madam Speaker, on Sunday, upon the conclusion of the regatta Saturday evening, on Sunday I was saddened to hear of a plane crash in Long Island. Sadly, tragedy had befallen our island following a blissful and successful regatta weekend. I was informed that the plane crashed shortly after takeoff from the Dedmanski Airport en route to New Providence. I am advised that the chartered flight, which was returning to New Providence with regatta goers, experienced mechanical difficulties shortly after takeoff. Madam Speaker, I was saddened to hear of the death of a young female passenger, Miss Alicia Newbold. I offer heartfelt condolences to her husband, daughter, family, and friends on my behalf, my family, and the people of Long Island. Our prayers are with you during this painful time. May her soul rest in peace. And I also express my concern to my colleague, the member for Fort Charlotte, because it came to my attention that his daughter was also a passenger on that flight. I was happy to hear that she was doing much better. We pray for the speedy recovery of all of the injured passengers, and we'll keep them in our thoughts and prayers. Madam Speaker, I must commend the rescuers and the volunteers who assisted those involved in that accident, chopping bushes, walking through the marsh, using heavy machinery, etc. Their quick and selfless response was nothing short of heroic. So I thank them. Madam Speaker, I also want to commend Ms. Kendley Hanna, who represented Long Island at the recent Youth in Parliament. Ms. Hanna did a fabulous job. I commend her and her parents. I want to highlight her parents, Tamika Hunt and Kendall Hanna, and her stepdad, Mr. John Hunt. Kendley, I know that you are a future teacher who now attends UB and attained a GPA of 3.38 whilst grieving the sudden passing of your special friend, who was one of the young men who died in that horrific car accident a few months ago. Kendley, I have a brand new laptop and tablet for you. I look forward to seeing you soon. Madam Speaker, I also want to congratulate all of the graduating classes from the primary schools to the secondary schools. Sims Primary School, Lower Dedmanski Primary School, Mangrove Bush Primary School, and of course the NGM Major and North Long Island High Schools. I encourage all of you to strive, to continue to strive, to reach beyond the stars. Your gifts will be sent to your respective schools. Madam Speaker, as an island boy, I'm pleased to hear of the establishment of a trust fund for the infrastructural development of the islands. 10% is a start. However, Madam Speaker, I believe that the government can and must go further to ensure that at least 45 to 50% of all monies collected on the family islands are retained for that particular island or used among the family islands. This would address issues such as potholes and road paving, seawalls and drainage, beaches and park creation and upkeep, emergency response, acquiring and operating local ambulances and fire trucks, donating and gifting items to local clinics and other entities, more localized capital works and jobs, a local fund for scholarships and training for young people, etc. This would allow for an immediate local response and ease some of the pressure on central government. Frankly, this would make government, I believe, at all levels, local and central, more efficient and restore some agency that our islands deserve. Some of the agency that our islands deserve. Madam Speaker, certain family islands, I believe, should be declared duty-free economic zones for most things, not just building supplies. I remain hopeful that some consideration is given to making islands like Long Island, if only for a month or two of the year, a tax-free economic zone. This would spur growth and investment on these islands, particularly those far-flung islands that have not caught up with some of the bigger northern islands. I strongly believe that we collectively must invest more in empowering local government. I'm of the view that local government districts should be empowered to assist with real property and other tax collection. We need greater decentralization of government. Speaking of local government, we have people employed in Long Island that have been employed by local government and in some cases transitioned over to central government and have been temporarily employed for 10, 15, and 20 years. There's a lady, Ms. Beryl Fox, who when I first was elected, she was in her final year of employment, and there's so very little I could do. She'd been working for about 20 plus years, contract to contract, and she unfortunately left the service without a pension. So these kinds of stories are really heart-wrenching. Speaker, I have a special love for the family islands. I'm an island boy, and that is where my heart lives. I know the struggles of living on an island firsthand. I know the struggles of operating business on an island firsthand. This is the life we live, those of us from these islands. The islands are the new frontier. Indeed, for far too long, the focus of successive governments have been too Nassau-centric. Each of the islands possess their own strengths. Madam Speaker, when I was a boy, Long Island farmers could sell everything we grew in Inagua. It was trade back and forth. It was Michael, trade back and forth between Long Island and Inagua. And Michael can attest to that. You know, this is where the mail boat system was designed to better inter-island commerce. We don't see this today. And so we must promote local entrepreneurs, create indigenous businesses, and wean ourselves off of imports. The real economic future of the Bahamas lies in the family islands, particularly the southern islands. These islands, based upon the topography and the hilly terrain, are all also able to better withstand severe hurricanes. Greater strategic planning and economic activity must be directed towards the family islands, whether that is the improvement and greater incorporation of farmers' markets, salt harvesting and processing, expanding our fisheries sector, and sustainability via avenues such as fish and conch farming, greater emphasis on our natural resources, or heightening domestic tourism by incentivizing Bahamians to stay in another island. The family islands are indeed in need of socioeconomic elevation. Reality is caught up with the Bahamas, and our islands are lagging, our family islands are lagging far behind. We need a fresh blueprint for the modern family island. Madam Speaker, we certainly need new investors in my constituency. We need to encourage greater investment in Long Island, which would lead to growth and the expansion of our economy, and hopefully greater economic diversification. Having heard of BPL's proposed expansion of solar fields into the southeastern islands, we're hopeful that when the roll is called in cabinet, my God, that Long Island will be there. For far too long, we've been forgotten. We must embrace renewables. That is the way forward. Obviously, solar is the way of the future. Frankly, that includes venturing into manufacturing items, such as solar panels. We could do it here. We could do it. A lot of the ingredients that they need to make these things come from the Bahamas. In the Bahamas, commercial banks make a killing, Madam Speaker, with interest rates as high as 21% and 22%, and charges on every single transaction. Not only must we move to enhance consumer protection measures for vulnerable and sometimes desperate borrowers, but we must also impose, I believe, a higher corporate tax on the banking sector. Indeed, we must broaden the platform for greater ease of doing business for Bahamians. Madam Speaker, let me note that I also support the implementation of a national lottery, the profits of which I believe would assist with capital works, with education, sports, culture, etc. As we move forward, we must consider the value of collecting taxes by incentivizing taxpayers via tax credits for persons who prepay their taxes, say for up to 3 years. This would be a win-win for both sides. What about leasing crown land at fixed rates? That would lend to a great return. The government has a large land inventory that is huge and unused. How about charging anchorage fees? During the height of COVID-19, we had nearly 50 ships anchored in Bahamian waters. To my knowledge, nothing was paid for that. Zero. The same applies to huge tankers. They all should be paying fees. Moreover, whenever they pass through Bahamian waters, they should pay a fee. They pay a fee to pass through the Panama Canal and the Suez Canal. The Bahamas' waters provide major shipping lanes. There are hundreds of ships currently passing in and out of our waters. And there's an app where you can check marine traffic for yourself. Madam Speaker, I welcome the proposed amendment to the Tariff Act, which would allow for Bahamians at large to acquire building materials, plumbing, and electrical supplies throughout the Bahamas. Of course, I'm even more pleased to know that duty-free concessions on building supplies for the islands, such as my constituency, will be continued. Frankly, this encourages the construction and the build-up of the family islands. Even more, as one who represents the Bahamas, one of the Bahamas' major fishing and farming centers, I support the adding of boat and engine parts as well as agricultural machinery, parts, and accessories to the list of concession items. I have no doubt that Keith Knowles and Scott Harding, Roger Fox, the Constantakis family, Don Adderley, Barry Knowles of Doctors Creek, and outstanding farmers like Maurice Minnis, Pedro Cartwright, the Banana Man, Tyrone Tanquest, Nick Cartwright, the Rowdy Boys, Katie Hunt with her eggs and pigs, Darrell Smith, Uncle Freeman Cartwright, the Honorable Larry Cartwright, and my good cousin Kevin Gibson would all take advantage of such concessions. But Madam Speaker, we must look to subsidize farmers and farmers markets even more, including raising tariffs on certain imports. I believe this would encourage Bahamian store owners and locals to support local produce. It would lend to others entering farming. Frankly, as I told the member for Central and South Eleuthera a few months ago, I too want to venture into chicken farming. I smile because I saw you looking at Eggleston. Agriculture and marine resources is a major revenue generator. It sustains communities such as those in my constituency. Fishing for us in Long Island is the major lifeline. Much like is done for fishermen in Florida, I am of the view, Madam Speaker, that fuel for commercial fishermen in the Bahamas should be duty-free. You know, that fuel in Florida is marked by a different color. So anyone found in possession of that fuel who's not a fisherman would probably find themselves before the court. And I think we should bring that same outlook to the Bahamas. You're a commercial fisherman, you get duty-free fuel, no duty charge to your fuel. Whilst at it, let me also encourage Bahamian fishermen, especially from Long Island, to engage in more deep-sea fishing. I have noted that the price of fish like wahoo and tuna and other high-end catch fetch they fetch high prices, man, in places like Japan. Sorry? Yes, certainly. Unfortunately, Bahamian fishermen have hardly fished in our eastern waters, where we have species like swordfish and yellowfish tuna and mahi-mahi. This is yet another way to supply high-valued fish that is typically imported into the country. You see mahi-mahi being imported into the Bahamas. And to reduce the pressure of fishing on the banks for reef fish. Madam Speaker, as it relates to pelagic fishing, we currently have very lax laws and enforcement against tourist fishers and unlicensed charter anglers from the US. Many of these anglers catch far over their already generous bag limits. There must also be a review of tourist cruise vessels making a living off our fisheries whilst not paying taxes. I'm certain that many persons have seen US-based advertisements, I've seen it in hotels, for fishing excursions into the Bahamas. We must levy higher fees and restrictive licenses upon visiting anglers. Whilst doing so, we should also ban foreign charter vessels from operating for profit in Bahamian waters without paying taxes or fees. and even more taking well beyond the acceptable catch home for resale, no doubt. Thousands of dollars are being made from fisheries excursions by foreign operators. What's more, persons are filleting fish out to sea and boldly sailing back into the US with loaded coolers. One of our employees, one of our former employees at the place I was formerly at in the Berry Islands, told me that some of the persons who come in there on yachts, said, man, look, they come in, they fish with maybe a native one day, they mark all the spots. Madam Speaker, we should also mandate GPS tracking on all Bahamian registered boats. That would greatly assist in enforcement and in flagging those who breach Bahamian fisheries laws. Madam Speaker, I understand that the Bahamas imports 90% of what we consume. The reality is that we are unable to feed ourselves. This is ever clearer given circumstances such as COVID. We must encourage farming to boost the Bahamas' food and nutrition security. Today, our country is faced with an opportunity to be even more creative, to diversify the economy. I was a bit disappointed with the allocation to the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, because I thought it should have been much more to encourage locals and to undergird this thrust of us wanting to feed ourselves. I encourage Long Island fishermen and farmers to come together and form cooperatives. We must continue to encourage and play an even greater role in supporting light industries, fisheries, agriculture, and food processing on the Family Islands. Madam Speaker, I believe that Long Island could be a leading economic engine in the Bahamas. However, our island is still recovering from decades of neglect and degradation. Madam Speaker, we in Long Island continue to face socioeconomic challenges due to the slow economy and underemployment in some instances, lack of fully operational banking facilities, and other infrastructural challenges. And of course, one of those big challenges is the lack of an international airport. As it stands, the most pressing matter currently hampering Long Island's development and desired by Long Islanders near and far is this international airport. And our lack of it has hampered us. For many years, Long Island has been the sleeping giant of the Southern Bahamas, lagging behind our sister islands in a state of hibernation. We've watched other islands pass us by, including our sister Exuma. We've watched our economy and our infrastructure deteriorate year after year. Notwithstanding our appreciable contribution, whether it's in business or education or culture, to the growth and development of the Bahamas, Long Island remains barely accessible. We're in desperate need of an international airport. The current terminal is jammed up and comparable to a chicken coop, and I've said that many times, and those who came to Long Island on the weekend can attest to that. The lack of airlift is killing Long Island. This has held Long Island back. We are perhaps the only major island, an island of our size, without an international airport. We know that the Dead Mesquite Airport was originally constructed some 70 years or so ago in the 1950s. So we need that international port of entry to come to fruition. We need it to be an expandable facility that could last and be upgraded over 30, 40, 50 years. Lastly, I was pleased to inform Long Islanders that the tenders for both the land side and the air side, that's the terminal and the new runway and apron, went out under the previous government, and that the bids had come in and evaluations had been undertaken. Madam Speaker, we are hopeful that a contract could be signed in the not too distant future. This new international hub would represent the turnaround the economy of Long Island desperately needs. Its construction would lend to an economic boom in Long Island, talking about construction activity from new businesses, tall companies coming in, restaurants opening, bars, straw and craft vendors now having more business, fishing, rental cars, hotels, motels, bed and breakfast, etc. This is a stimulus that our economy in Long Island needs. And this would lend to many people opening small businesses, and the brain drain that we now see in Long Island, where persons graduate high school and immediately leave, sometimes never to return except maybe for a regatta or Christmas. This would cause persons to now find opportunity in Long Island, wanting to stay home, spurring that economy. New employment, new business opportunities. Madam Speaker, business people like Llewellyn, Gus Cartwright, and Ellis Major have already told me that they would build and expand their current enterprises if the international airport was to come to Long Island. As it stands, Mr. Major, as Ellis Major, is currently building 6 huge edifices with plans to expand further. And I came on a flight recently, this week, and he told me that after this current phase of construction, he will have 89 rooms. I believe that represents the largest room inventory by a single entity on the island. This is in Clarence now. And he also told me that he's looking to expand. He's looking to expand on his current development. I look forward to seeing that. But the other major resorts have also informed me, Madam Speaker. Yes.
New property, new information, Madam Speaker, might be an ideal time for us to ask for the expansion beyond the 7 o'clock hour.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Is there a seconder? Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the business of this House proceed beyond the 7 p.m. hour. All those in favor shall remain seated. Those opposed will stand. The motion is agreed. The business of this House will now proceed beyond the 7 o'clock hour.
Thank you, Madam
You may
Speaker.
continue, Honorable Member.
So, Madam Speaker, as I indicated, there are other resorts that have also informed me of plans for expansion. Okay, so I highlight all of this to show the importance of this airport and the spin-offs, taxi plates, livery, tour operators, etc. Madam Speaker, I imagine that many persons who look to invest in family islands, they look at whether basic infrastructure is present. If it's not, sometimes they lose interest. And this is why my thrust was centered upon putting what infrastructure in my constituency and other islands. The islands represent the future of the Bahamas, as I stated earlier. And I want to note that pipes were sent to Long Island for works in Millis, McCann's, and Sam McKinnon's. And we're looking forward to those being installed at the soonest possible time. The same applies to the Turnbull settlement. I hope that these works would be continued because the pipes are there, and I know it was already budgeted for, and I'm hopeful that these works will be undertaken in these particular areas. Madam Speaker, let me also note that a Caribbean Development Bank water extension project, that's the final phase, was up for sign-off, and this would have impacted the residents of Stella Maris, Boyne Ground, going down to Seymour's or going up to Seymour's in northern Long Island. We're also hopeful that that project would be continued, which would provide potable water to the residents of the Deep North, as well as to 2 of the major hotels on the island. I am hopeful that that will be completed. Madam Speaker, I've always held the view that the Ministry of Works capital budget should be around 250 million a year. I've always held that anything lower than that, lower than 200 to 250 million, given the humongous mandate of such a ministry and catering to all of the islands, I think, leaves a lot to be desired. Madam Speaker, the member for Fort Charlotte, I had a chat with him yesterday. He's graciously invited my correspondences in relation to the needs of Long Island, or for Long Island. I thank him, and I will issue the same by tomorrow. However, Madam Speaker, I know that my people are listening in. And so I will set out some of our most pressing infrastructural and developmental concerns. We need the urgent paving of the O'Neill's Road. This road is a major point on the island. It connects parts of the island. It's one of the true roads that go from one side out to the back to another, where persons can travel during hurricane if hurricane destroys or damages the main Queens Highway. And this road has been in a terrible state for some time. Madam Speaker, I spoke to the water expansion project on the island a moment ago. but also the scarifying and paving of important side roads, such as Hardings Road, Bridgewater Road, Hogan's Road, Church Street in Deals, Turnbull, Urban Knolls Drive, Mangrove Bush Road, Cartwright's Drive, Buckley's Point, Turnquest Drive, the road around at the Pocket House in Clarence Town, the road to French Harbor, Junkie Landing Road, etc., Dunmore Road. These are all roads that are highly trafficked, where quite a number of persons live. And I'm hoping that some consideration can be given to at least starting with a few and seeing where we go from there. But these arteries traveled and trafficked by a lot of people who live in those particular settlements. Madam Speaker, the same applies to resurfacing of the main Queens Highway. We have areas like McCann's and Sims and Bunches, Stella Mars, that need resurfacing. We have sinks in the road, potholes, and so on and so forth. I know that some works were undertaken in Stella Mars, Boyne Ground, Glintons, and Seymour's under the previous administration. Unfortunately, it's been about 2 years, and the paving, the blacktop hasn't been added to those roads. In fact, Madam Speaker, I'm late here today because my grandfather got in an accident right before I came here on that very road.
Sorry to hear that.
Skidding and sliding. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Is he okay?
Yes, ma'am. He had to be taken to the clinic, but he said he has a little pain in the neck and the back, from what I'm told. I haven't gotten a full update as yet because I'm still here on my feet. But I was very concerned. You know, I know the car was pretty much written off. But it's urgent that that road is paved. And those who came to Long Island this weekend, my colleagues on both sides would have ridden on that road and seen the condition that road is needed. Because the works were done, they put down the quarry, they keep putting down more quarry, but they're never paving the road. And it's been 2 years. There's been many, many accidents on that road. I heard persons complaining about asthmatic attacks because of the dust and so on. And now today, my grandfather, thank God he didn't lose his life. Madam Speaker, but in terms of the main road, areas like in the capital, Clarence Town, in Bard State, Lower Grace, Buckley's, I would say from the seawall, or I would say from NGM Major upwards to Mangrove Bush. There's a need to pave sections of the main Queens Highway there. Saul Pond, repaving a swath of road by the seawall, by the Line Bay Private Community, down to the crossing corner. So these are areas, I think, on the main Queens Highway that could be taken out and redone to better the driving experience and avoid accidents. Madam Speaker, we look forward to the settlement signs that we understand were supposed to be in the previous contract, the current contract, being installed from Gordon's to Seymour's, as well as the road signs, stop signs, yield signs, and so on and so forth. We're looking forward to having those installed as well, because we understand those were in the previous contracts, but we haven't seen those installed along the roadway. And of course, the use of cat eyes and/or striping of the main Queens Highway. Madam Speaker, I could go on a little bit more about roads, but I'll move on because I'm going to send the minister a note with reference to some of these matters that he could assist me with. The same applies. I hear talk about the replacement of the BPL lights. You know, we have areas, corners in Long Island that don't have any lighting. We have blown BPL lights in certain areas. We have places that I think, red persons are living and they're being told, hey man, you want to get electricity through these roads, you have to pay $1,000 a pole. People can't afford that. $1,000 a pole, you know? And so this is another thing I'm going to be writing to the minister about, and also copying the executive chairman of BPL. And I'm sure many of the other islands have a similar issue. Madam Speaker, we don't have any real green space or park in Long Island. We got places we call park, but they're not parks. And so having a recreational space or a couple recreational space on the island would be good. It's always good for the kids, it's good for families, you know, where the persons can go out there and fellowship, and can have events, etc. And so I will also be writing to the minister with reference to that. Madam Speaker, as I drove to Long Island this weekend, I noted the need for seawalls in certain areas like Glintons, where the water is, you know, you have obviously global warming, but just a little bit more and water's in the road. And I'm talking but at regular tide, low tide. And so I think there's a need for the construction of seawalls in places like Glintons and around where the public cemetery is in Militant. Same applies for the reconstruction of the police station in Clarence Town. Since Hurricane Joaquin, this police station was damaged, destroyed really. And we haven't had police presence in the capital since, I think, about 2015. And so I think it's needed because you have the administrator's office there handling quite a bit of money and other business places in that area. So I think it's important that we look into constructing or refurbishing that police station that was damaged in the hurricane. And I was thinking there's quite a number of other concerns we have with respect to infrastructure in the island. Drainage is a major point of concern. And so one of the issues I'll be raising with the minister is the installation of culverts and drainage systems on the island. You know, you got areas where there's heavy rainfall, like White Pond. There's heavy rainfall in Scrub Hill. You know, Maurice Minnis always talks to me about this. His house, he built a house in Scrub Hill, and he could not live in it because the area was so low in the water, just once there's heavy rainfall, comes right into the house, goes right into the road. So that has been a concern. So culverts, sink wells, and other drainage techniques to cause persons to not lose so much property and or to allow for proper drainage when there's heavy rainfall and or hurricanes on the island. And I'll speak more to the infrastructural concerns when the minister and I have that conversation. Madam Speaker, I want to assure the people of Long Island that I continue to work hard on their behalf, continue to strive to ensure that their needs are met, and I will continue to do so. Madam Speaker, I believe that no matter who's in office, whether it's FNM or PLP, Long Island should not be left out. So in addition to the airport, as I stated, we are in need of roads, we are in need of addressing drainage issues, seawalls, striping of roads, creating of reflected lanes using cat eyes, in need of the creation of recreational spaces, the placement of a permanent Ministry of Works officer on the island. And if you have a Ministry of Works officer on an island, that person is, I think, better able to report as to what's happening. So before something completely degrades or deteriorates, you know, they can report it and it could be addressed before it gets to the point of no return or having to invest even more money. So I welcome any strategic plan to improve life on the family islands. And I certainly support local government having revenue-raising powers, particularly given that most of the revenue generated on the islands is repatriated to New Providence and placed into that black hole called the Consolidated Fund, where family islanders see very limited returns. The local government budget in Long Island has rolled over for years, or year over year, without change, Madam Speaker. Not much can be done on such a tight budget. The Chief Counsel and I constantly talk about this. That must be increased, particularly when you look at inflation and the growth of the island. Madam Speaker, I applaud the healthcare professionals throughout the Bahamas, and I especially applaud the healthcare team on Long Island. Madam Speaker, indeed, it's critical that we have modernized healthcare facilities on the family islands, such as Long Island. However, the capital works budget that I saw for the Ministry of Health, some $4 million or so, seems a bit too low, considering the need for infrastructural upgrades and repairs to these clinics throughout all of the family islands. Okay? In Long Island alone, there are repairs that are required to the Sims Community Clinic as well as the McKinsey Clinic down in Deadman's Key. These are in an obvious state of deterioration. You know, Madam Speaker, I have constituents such as Christina Constantakis and her sister-in-law, Amber Constantakis, who are always reaching out and highlighting our need for improved health care on the island. And they're right. It's overdue. So Christina and Amber, I hope that you are listening as I make the case to the powers that be. When I speak of the clinics in certain places are falling to pieces, haven't been upgraded in years. The polyclinics, as the old people say where Putma. But I'm talking about two major clinics, Sims and McKinsey, desperately in need of upgrades. And I understand that with respect to the McKinsey Clinic, the IDB had allocated more than $1 million last year as I attended the town meeting for repairs to the clinic at McKinsey, as well as the purchase of an ambulance. And we continue to await those repairs, as well as the repairs that we understood were supposed to come from the Capital Works budget to the Sims Clinic. We're also having challenges with respect to the morgue in Deadman's Key. That morgue is oftentimes not working. And so persons have to drive down many miles, drive up to the north, we say down, but up to the north to take their loved ones' bodies from the south to use the morgue in Sims. There was a time recently where there's about 6 or so bodies in a morgue that was only built to house 3 people. You know, so the morticians had to come up and quickly embalm so that more space could be created for other persons. And so we're calling on government to replace the morgue and Deadman's Key so that Long Islanders will be able to have adequate facility when persons die. Madam Speaker, I do not believe that Long Islanders should still be hopping a flight to come to Nassau to just do a blood test. And the IDB loan that would have carried out infrastructural works to the clinic in Deadman's Key envisioned us having a lab. We are looking forward to not only those works being undertaken at the Deadman's Key Clinic, but also to that lab coming to fruition. You know, far too long, we've been coming to Nassau for things that are simple, could be easily addressed, incurring sizable travel costs just to access health care. And what's worse, Madam Speaker, is when there's an issue, a major event or an accident or something on the island, islanders have been complaining now that emergency flights are taking far too long to come to the island to pick up. So that too must be looked into and addressed. Madam Speaker, we need, I've said this before, we need special education teachers on the island. And I'm hopeful that you can get me at least one this summer. You know, there's hardly anything in place to cater to special needs children. We have special needs kids on the island, who are kept home. And we felt over the years, somewhat even hidden by parents, or who simply cannot keep up with their regular classes. Madam Speaker, serious consideration must also be given to the greater centralization of education at the secondary level on the island. In the past, I spoke to the former Director of Education, Mrs. Iris Pinder, and to the now Principal of NGM Major, Mr. Endel Adderley. And we shared the view that we should move in the direction of an Ellen Coakley, I understand, where we maybe have the construction of a new high school. That was once envisioned by one of my predecessors, the Honorable James Knowles, where I think plans were drawn for the construction of a new high school in the Bight settlement. Name it NGM Major. That is the best high school in the country. And so obviously we carry that name with us. But I'm shameless about that, my friends. I'm shameless about that. But with the anticipated spin-offs from the airport and waterworks and other infrastructure initiatives, there's a desire to see more of the technical and vocational programs the islanders could participate in. And we think that could better be facilitated also by having one high school. You know, some time ago, Ms. Pinder talked to me about these plans. I think they were drawn in 1998 by the Ministry of Works for such a school, a central school, just like Ellen Coakley. You don't have probably 4 or 5 times the population, 6 times the population of Long Island. So there ought to be no need to duplicate programs and I know the human resources challenges. I, being a teacher myself, and duplicating infrastructure between two small schools, one having less than 100 students, the other one having maybe 150 or thereabouts, when resources could be better utilized by possibly amalgamating both entities, into this much promised central high school that was talked about so many years ago. Madam Speaker, I used to be a teacher's cadet in high school. It's always been a very valuable program used to train and recruit new teachers. I know the budgetary allocation of some $75,000 towards that program. But given the need for these essential workers, and teachers are essential workers, I think that in future we should look at increasing that allocation from 75,000, so we could recruit more cadets, have more persons possibly coming into education. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the member for Engliston and the Ministry of Education for the donation of 30,000 to the Long Island Museum. I don't want to sound greedy, but I would be grateful if the government could, in future, increase that allocation to about 50,000. And this would allow for greater research of the caves and all these other unexplored areas. We have a lot of unexplored caves, Engliston, a lot of unexplored land in Long Island where you could find artifacts and so on. And it could be an educational experience as well. Students coming down from UB and all those, even international universities. As a former teacher, and you're always a teacher, I welcome the increase in the salaries of teachers and the decision to pay a retention bonus to teachers and nurses. Frankly, I think that these should be two of the highest paid professions in any country, educators and nurses. In recent time, I spoke about encouraging each island to focus upon staple crops and livestock. No need to compete with each other. So imagine Andrews Forest, coconuts, fruits, citrus, vegetables, etc. South Long Island, I believe, could easily accommodate thousands of cattle on expansive cattle farms. We could encourage more inter-island linkages, developing boutique industries using sand and salt, setting up solar plant or sites to produce solar panels on the southeastern islands. We know that conch shell is pure calcite. So imagine specialty conch products. Could expand our straw craft industry to more everyday products. Madam Speaker, in Long Island, they got something called Papa Stuff. Right? Papa Stuff. That's a major draw for tourists, moonshine. In places like North Carolina, moonshine is sold on the shelves. Seriously, it's a Papa Stuff. Moonshine. West Grandmom, you're not gonna set me up here today. So just imagine intertwining, Madam Speaker, farming, tourism, and inviting tourists to visit and go to a conch farm or some fish farm at a cost. I want to thank the executive chairman of BAIC, my good cousin, for what he's proposed to do in Long Island. I thank you very much, man. And I look forward to that. I'm looking forward to us having maybe a pop-up farmers market in Long Island, which would reinvigorate farmers and perhaps attract the attention of young persons to farming. This could also translate into training programs for food processors. Because, right? We lose a lot of guava and tomato and watermelon just rot because they're not being processed. So I intend to collaborate with the chairman of BAIC to see where classes can be offered to teach Long Islanders how to preserve fruits and vegetables. Okay? There's some who know, many who know, but some of the younger ones could learn that. To make jams, jellies, straw craft, and so on. These classes, I believe, will help teach people how to preserve farm produce and market them into New Providence and elsewhere. Madam Speaker, indeed, there's a need for at least 2 immigration officers to be posted or recruited in Long Island. At present, we have none. Given that we have 2 major marinas, one in the north, one in the south, boats can dock at all hours. And the same applies to our preparation for an international airport. Madam Speaker, we Long Islanders are in desperate need of a commercial bank. Our island cannot continue to be unbanked. You know, we're going from having Royal and Scotia in 2017 to both of them pulling out. And we have no commercial bank today. And so we're appealing for the Bank of the Bahamas to come to Long Island. During the previous administration, I wrote to the chairman of Bank of the Bahamas. I will do so with the new chairman as well as to the Minister of Finance. But we are appealing for the Bank of the Bahamas to come to Long Island. We know that the Bank of the Bahamas has a presence in many islands throughout the country, and Long Island with a sizable business community. I believe that it's important that Bank of the Bahamas come to Long Island. Our population is larger than some of the markets that are now being serviced by the BOB. Madam Speaker, as I draw to a close, Crown land is an issue of concern for Long Islanders. There are hundreds of acres of Crown land in Long Island. We must also regularize generation land, not just on Long Island, but throughout the Bahamas, so that persons can get titles to property. And with these titles, they can go to the bank and say, hey, bank, I'd like to have $50,000 and start a new business. I'd like to take out a new mortgage on my home to send my child to university, or whatever the case might be. But I believe that people having title to these properties creates opportunity for them as well. This would represent a paradigm shift in the lives of thousands of Bahamians. Madam Speaker, there's a need for the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, I believe, we must have a greater presence on the island. Organized sports is essentially, or it's almost non-existent on Long Island. Community sporting leagues hardly existent and or dead. And you know, there was a time where we were dominant in softball and baseball, track and field. Everybody remembers some of our great stars of the Long Island, and so on. But yes, basketball. We used to have a basketball league at one point as well. So we've lost all of that. Sorry, who? I don't sound more like a Harbor Island surname. Yeah. We need you know, West Grand Bahama. Do I need to remind you of a young lady by the last name Roll? You remember that? All right. Dominant. I think the record still stands with the 800 meters. We need a Family Island Sports Council, more particularly a Long Island Sports Council, Madam Speaker. We would like sponsorship and highlighting our culture and then putting on what is now defunct Junkanoo events. We used to have Junkanoo at Christmas time, summer events. We used to have Junkanoo just to have Junkanoo. And we hardly have it. I noticed Kendrick Knowles was trying the other day to put something together. But I'll be encouraging the schools and the principals in Long Island to participate in Junior Junkanoo. I'm going to talk to the member for Garden Hills about getting some kind of funding there so that these schools can participate in Junior Junkanoo. But Madam Speaker, as I indicated earlier, we need more green spaces, community parks, and recreational sites on the island. We are in desperate need of repairs and upgrades to our sporting facilities, okay? From the basketball courts to anything else. I mean, softball fields, track, etc., the soccer pitches, etc. We are desperately in need of infrastructural development and improvement as it relates to sports on the island. Madam Speaker, and so I encourage the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture to extend its assistance to initiating also a youth band on Long Island. I think that would be good for the young people, a youth band program, as I've seen done in some other places. So, Madam Speaker, with those words, I want to note that it's my intention, in collaborating with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, to identify a pool of interested persons who are interested, persons who have knowledge as well, and who are interested enough in creating a body that could oversee sporting activities, that could work along with the sports and individual sporting associations. We hope to come back to the island to revitalize community sports, from softball to basketball to volleyball to road races, walkathons, Junkanoo, cultural activities, and maybe even the Long Island Games. We won the Long Island Games because, you know, we used to, when they had the Bahama Games, Long Island used to come to Nassau and we used to beat up on these fellas, you know? And you know, and West Grand Bahama, I'm sure, remembers the beating that Long Island delivered. Madam Speaker, our sporting facilities, as I indicated, must be upgraded and improved. And you know, Madam Speaker, I will be agitating also for the construction of a multi-purpose gym or center in Long Island. That could be a gymnasium, but also used. And South Andres, I see you, but guess what, South Andres? The gentleman who's building it, that's a Long Islander. So we would like that to be, we would like one of those to be brought to Long Island as well. And South Andres, you're welcome. It's one of ours. But Madam Speaker, we would also wish to have such a center that could be used multi-purpose, obviously for the gymnasium and sporting events, but also for hurricane and community events, contract signings, etc. And so with those words, Madam Speaker, I thank you, and I rest on behalf of the people of Long Island. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Asmini?
Madam Speaker, this is an appropriate time now for the suspension. We have 4 days left in the debate. We should meet Monday of next week, Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday, and of course, a full day Thursday for us to meet as a committee of the whole. We will go through all the heads. So we are Monday, full day, Tuesday from 3 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Wednesday, full day. Thursday, we hope to have the entire day set aside for the committee of the whole, where we'll go through the various heads. I'd like to thank members who have been so cooperative in allowing us to move the debate along so smoothly. Madam Speaker, I now call for the suspension of the House until Monday, June 13th at 10 a.m.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Honorable Member. It has been moved and seconded that the business of this House be suspended until 10 a.m. Monday, 13th of June, 2022. All those in favor shall remain seated. Those opposed will stand. The motion is agreed. The business of this House stands suspended until 10 a.m. Monday, 13th of June, 2022.
All right.